A friend of mine asked me a question yesterday that stuck with me for the better part of the weekend, and he asked me, in all of the top level performers that you've either worked with one-to-one or you have within your network or you've had over on your show, what are the 5 most common traits that you see amongst them? And it had me thinking for a while, because there does seem to be some sort of connective tissue between every single great person I know, and not only in that, in all of the elite performers that I've studied before, including the hundreds of biographies that I've read that I've probably got behind me, all of the podcasts I've listened to, all of the interviews I've read. So in this video, I'm not only going to give you the answer to that question, but I'll also give you a game plan in how to make those traits actionable and tangible for yourself, and how to embody them so you can start living and aligning with the highest version of yourself. So it's no coincidence that all of the people that I've worked with personally one-to-one that are high performers or founders or creators or professionals all seem to connect to each other in unlikely ways, or they have some sort of shared personality trait. Even if their fields of work are completely unrelated, they all swim in the same ocean of wisdom. And when I asked myself why that is, I realized it's because mastery, or the pursuit of mastery, has infinite entry points. But the thing is, they will all lead you down the same winding roads to the same conclusions. Whether you're a pro athlete playing in the Premier League or you're a head chef in a Michelin star restaurant, if you're on the pursuit of greatness, you will learn the same lessons. So these right now, I'm going to reveal to you, are the golden threads of mastery. And if you pull on them for long enough and you apply them correctly, they will mold you into something special, and you will level up in a way that is completely unimaginable to you right now. You'll level up so fast that it will feel illegal. So trait number 1 I found in high performers, and that I'm trying to embody in myself, is relentlessness and obsession in their pursuit. I could speak for hours on the power of relentlessness and obsession. In fact, there's an amazing book by Tim Grover called Relentless that you should go and read. But I believe this is one of those things that can't be taught, and it must be earned. Having obsession in what you do outweighs discipline. In fact, you don't even need discipline when you have obsession, because when your North Stars and the things that you're thinking about are pulling you forward magnetically, when what you want to achieve and how you want to serve the world is on the forefront of your mind the majority of the day or the week or the month, the opposing force and pull of distraction, chaos, anxiety, self-sabotage just simply isn't as strong. When I'm asked how I overcome these obstacles of lack of discipline or lack of structure or lack of systems or self-sabotage, 95% of the time the answer is that your North Stars just aren't strong enough. Because I don't do what I do for the sake of an outcome. The outcomes are secondary. I do it because the pull within me to create is larger than the pull to consume. And why? Because it feels like play to me. So how can you apply this to your life? As Naval says, find what feels like play to you but work to others. This takes a lot of experimentation and a lot of iteration. As he also says, it's not 10,000 hours, it's 10,000 iterations. But eventually, once you turn that tick on in your mind, you won't be able to turn it off, and that's when the relentlessness and obsession pours through. It's like a channel that you open for it to pour through, and from there your greatest works will be born. And this point that I've just mentioned closely ties to point 5, which I'm going to show you how to implement and put it into practice, so make sure you stay to the end to watch that. Trait number 2 is they act with speed. Patience in the long run, but short term impatience. The highest performers I know shrink the gap between idea and execution. The thing is, speed is incredibly undervalued and underutilized. If you think about it this way, the faster you do something, the quicker you find out whether that thing was for you or not. If I could go back and tell my 21-year-old self anything, it would be to act with speed, because even the ideas that I thought were good, actually I would have received data back quicker to know that it wasn't good, and I could have iterated faster and moved on and pivoted. And that's what this game is all about. Out of all the multiple businesses that I've ran over my years, speed was the one factor that allowed me to scale. And don't get me wrong, of course, there are times where you need to slow down. There are seasons where you need to slow down. But most of the time, high performers understand that ideas have a shelf life, which means a limited amount of time to take it from potentiality to actuality. And if you don't act on it, then I'm a believer that it gets passed on to the next receiver. A lot of people who are inconsistent struggle with the fear of perfectionism and fear. But fear can simply be reframed as false evidence appearing as real. See, it's only the overthinking and the space that you create for rumination that allows you to come up with excuses to not do it. This is what fuels the internal resistance, and you actually go out of your way to create evidence to not do the thing. But the rational mind understands that failure is simply information. Information is something that can be acted on, it can be iterated on, it is data. It is neither good nor bad. And so in saying this, you should be patient in the long term in terms of outcomes, but in the short term, you should be very impatient and obsessive with execution. Diving into the unknown is scary, but it's very unlikely and it's very rare that the growth that you're looking for will be in areas that you can see. The third trait, this one I've seen amongst so many high performers, but there's a caveat that makes a difference between people who actually execute on it, and people who live in fairyland. And that is full conviction in where they will end up. That means delusion to the point where people think that they're crazy or insane. But the thing about delusion is that delusion is only delusion to people outside of your belief system. If you yourself have true conviction in where it is you're going to end up, that's the only thing that matters. It only appears delusional to people outside of you. I speak about this at length with my friend Musa, who's only 22 and he makes millions and millions of dollars a month. You can go and watch that full conversation over here. I'll link it here. But every high performer I know had to be delusional, because it's either that or you settle for mediocrity and conforming to the norm. But if you're an outlier, and I'm assuming if you're watching this you are, or you have the potential to be, then you never conform to the norm. You forge your own way and tune out the noise. The fourth trait, this one is super rare, and I believe it doesn't even apply to the top 1%, but maybe the top 0.1%. And this is authenticity, genuine in your relationships, and developing a moral compass. Those that are truly genuine in their relationships, they don't actually want anything from you. They're not trying to extract anything from you. Those that are true to their word, even when circumstances change. Those who can't be swayed by money or external things or validation are not only the ones who will go furthest in life, but I believe they're the ones that have the most deepest and impactful relationships and connections, which ultimately is what it's all about when it comes to this idea of service. When you look at the Vedic principle of dharma, or your dharmic duty, it is to fulfill your purpose. And service is the highest form of purpose that you can ever find in this reality. And fifth, and most importantly, if you implement this, then you will accelerate 10 times faster than you currently are going. High performers, and all the high performers I know or I've worked with, are always on the pursuit of wisdom. They are what I like to call seekers. They have this undying, unquenchable thirst for wisdom, or for knowledge, or for perspectives that they haven't seen before. They always embody the student's mind even after they've arrived, even after they have the material things, they have achieved the goals that have set out for themselves. The fountain of wisdom never dries. It must be fed through conscious consumption, and then it has to have an outlet through conscious creation. See, but here's the thing about wisdom and knowledge, and this is the caveat that applies to high performers only. They understand that knowledge alone isn't enough. You could watch this video and all my other videos and read all of my newsletters, but that alone isn't enough. Only by doing something with it, by applying it, is when you gain wisdom. And to apply knowledge, you have to be in the arena, you have to be doing something, you have to be building something, even if it's just yourself. High performers understand that acquiring knowledge is easy, but knowing what to do with it and where to apply it is the hard part. And this is why I cycle through books so often, and these are the ones I've got behind me, but I don't do it to gather new ideas. I do it to spark ideas and create a chain reaction in my mind that becomes necessary for me to share, like this video. The seeker trait is something that we're all born with as a child. It's a natural curiosity, a sense of wonder, but that is numbed and desensitized and buried beneath programming and cheap dopamine. So your only job in this life is to untangle these unconscious programs and let a universal truth you already knew as a child re-emerge. Read old books, spend more time alone in solitude. Create the conditions for genuine connections. Let yourself be fascinated by what most people consider the norm, whether it be the architecture of the city, the intricate details that you notice in the leaves falling beside you, the radiance of the beam of the sun bouncing off the tarmac. When you live as a seeker, you can never truly be bored, and you'll find ideas literally everywhere that you look. And this is the highest form of solo leveling or leveling up. It's raising your awareness. So if you apply these principles and pull on these golden threads for long enough, and you apply them correctly, I promise you the amount of leveling up you're going to do will be unimaginable. 12 months from now, you could be in a completely different situation, living as a completely different person. And that is the point. We're supposed to evolve. We're supposed to look back every 3 to 6 months and not even recognize ourselves. That is the pursuit of mastery. The highest performers that you look up to live by these principles, unconsciously or consciously. And the highest version of you that exists somewhere on this timeline, the one you're trying to align with, also lives by these principles. And that's why the core of my work is always self-mastery. I genuinely believe that the external pursuit of any outcome first begins with the internal pursuit of mastery. So start applying these today and watch how drastically things will start to change for you. By the way, if this resonated on any level, I put together a secret video for people who are already high performers and are successful on paper, whether they're founders or creators or professionals, but they need help getting to that next level. See, I work with high performers one-to-one to give you the frameworks and the roadmap using my self-mastery principles and protocols to apply into your business and life so that you can reach the potential that you know you're capable of. If that sounds interesting to you, then click the first link below to watch that explainer video and apply, and if you're a right fit, then I'll contact you personally. Otherwise, if you're not ready for that yet, click the second link below and I've got some free tools for you to get started on your self-mastery journey that you can literally apply today. If you like this video, then go and check out this one. Otherwise, subscribe to this channel and over to my main channel where my show is, and I'll see you in the next one.